Compagnie Monégasque de Banque, or CMB, is one of the market leaders for international private banking in Monaco. Founded in 1976, CMB prides itself on a reputation for innovation in Monaco's financial sector and a specialised range of services for wealthy local clientele and those along the Mediterranean coast. Well, CMB was the first bank in Monaco to launch hedge funds, and it shows no sign of slowing down. It's continually expanding its international profile and now serves a diverse and cosmopolitan clientele with quality services and customer care. Well, for more about CMB and its future direction, I'm delighted to say that I'm joined in the studio by the CEO Werner Peyer. A very good day to you. Thank you so much for joining us. And let's take a look at the core values. What exactly are they and how do they put CMB at the forefront?
The core values really are our pillars on the fundamental belief of our commitment, strong commitment to Monaco and to serving clients. We redefined and renewed our commitment with these four values in early 2010 at the end of the financial crisis. And the core values, we only defined four. We didn't want to make it too complicated, neither for us nor for clients. And we define them as client focus, competence and innovation, diversity, respect of diversity, and respect of rules. And every day and regularly when we meet in the senior management or in team meetings, we check whether we continue to follow that path. And these values are absolutely key to us. So without those, we couldn't function, we couldn't attract clients the way we attract, and we couldn't hire people because we want to share these values.
Trust and credibility are also important as well, and I'd like to know how you maintain those traits, especially as the banking landscape is exerting pressures of its own.
Of course, but let's come back to these core values. Client focus means that every client that joins CMB, we consider like a project of his own. We want to understand who or she is, what the expectations are towards us, what their objectives are with their financial wealth, and how we can add value. Everything we want to do must be value added. There is choice in Monaco. We are 31 banks in a small marketplace of 2 square kilometers and 35,000 residents. So the client should clearly understand what he will get from this relationship with us. So adding value is key to us. And adding value we can only do when we understand and then deliver the best possible service to this client. This is clearly a new chapter after the boom area of the early years of 2000, where product factories develop products and then try to find a client to whom to sell to. Selling is actually a word that is not allowed in CMB. At best, we may say we invite to buy, but we don't sell.
The bank is young. 76 was the year of its birth, so quite young by modern standards. But in spite of that, it's played a huge role in developing Monaco's financial centre and indeed in the country's or the Principality's economy. So how have you done that?
It may sound young, 42, 43 years old, but an enormous amount has happened in those 43 years. So many things have fundamentally changed in the banking landscape, particularly in the private banking landscape. 43 years ago, it was the time of banking secrecy in an absolute form. Today, we have a totally transparent open market where there is discretion, but no banking secrecy. There is a full automatic exchange amongst OECD countries. Completely new landscape. A completely new profession is needed. Totally new competencies are needed. So unless you cannot reinvent yourself, you're out of the game. Jack Straw wrote the book probably about 20 years ago, Differentiate or Die. And that's exactly what it is all about. The client, when he has a choice of 31 banks or in other financial centers, hundreds of banks, you need to stick out. You need to stick out and offer a differentiated service. And you need to talk about it. And you have to let them know what's special about you. So this is really a key sentence we keep on repeating to ourselves. Regularly checking how we can innovate, how we can get out of the box, and how we can challenge the way we are doing things. There's this wonderful slogan of a Swiss watch brand, a very famous Swiss watch brand, that says, to break the rules, you must first master them. Innovation just doesn't happen overnight and you get the idea under the shower. You need to be competent, you need to understand your business, but then you need to be sufficiently courageous to get out of the box. And then you are able to innovate. And that's what we try to do constantly. Not that we consider ourselves great innovators per se, but we observe and we listen. We observe what other competitors are doing in other continents, in other countries, and we listen to our clients. Our wealthy clients are multi-banked, and so they have experiences, good and not so good experiences, and we want to know about them. So one of the major skills of a private banker today is being able to listen. And that's totally the opposite of a salesman.
Sure. So listening, because learning, and learning obviously from your rivals, it makes you innovative. Absolutely. And you can deliver more.
Yeah, that's key.
But I'm fascinated at this idea of delivery and being the best and innovation, because the banking landscape is heavily regulated, especially after the global financial crisis. So are you worried that perhaps that can limit your innovative abilities? Because obviously you don't want to get on the wrong side of regulation.
You never want to get onto the wrong side of regulation. That's why the fourth core value of CMB is the respect of rules. It means you constantly need to watch what the new rules are, and you need to put into action new rules and respect them. But I often, and since I'm a football fan, FIFA has developed many rules, and they are constantly bringing in new rules. It doesn't prevent Liverpool from winning 5-1 or 3-0, as long as they score more goals than
and keep
they
the fans
get.
happy.
So really, when you look at football over the last 30 years, many new rules, many restrict the game per se, but it doesn't stop the teams from winning at best scores. And I look at it the same way. Yes, there are new rules. Let's not cry over it. Let's accept it and find out how we can best cope in this new environment.
Are you worried, though, that perhaps geopolitics influencing regulation will impact, well, unfavourably to a certain extent on banks like you? You're trying to do a really good job, but you're caught in the middle of something over which you have no control.
It happens all the time. Obviously, there are geopolitical influences with sanction lists in particular, and that makes it unpredictable, not so much for the banks, but sadly for the clients. And they may, for reasons that really are outside their control, find themselves all of a sudden being blocked from doing business or banking business, because today a client is not just banking in Monte Carlo or in Switzerland or London. He is banking globally because he sends money around the globe in different currencies, which means correspondent banks get involved, and they all have their sets of rules and they control these flows of money. And that makes it very complicated for clients. That's the big negative impact.
But that's the new reality. It's not something that you're wrestling with. Everybody's wrestling with this too.
I mean, that's the new reality. That's a very good expression. Yeah, we wrestle with it, but successfully.
Okay, let's take a look at the bigger picture now, because CMB, as we know, operates in Monaco and it's owned by Mediobanca. So does the group per se plan to expand further internationally, and what's the strategy to fulfill that?
The group is very dynamic. At CMB, we have decided that we want to operate only in Monte Carlo, because that's what we understand best. We are 230 people, and we are in Monaco understanding the needs and the objectives of the clients who want to bank in Monaco, and we also understand the rules and the regulations as they are defined by the local regulators and our international regulator, the Bank of France, which supervises the very robust financial center. So we define our territory as Monaco, and we are proud to display Monaco in our name, Compagnie Monégasque de Banque. That's unique. But the group is dynamic, our shareholder is dynamic, and they expand. They expand not only in private banking, but they also expand in asset management internationally. The latest acquisition was in Geneva with an asset manager that was spun off from a bank. And 2 years before, they made an acquisition in London. And there are rumors now, but they were already in the newspapers, that there might be an acquisition in Paris, in the investment banking area. We love this dynamic approach because it creates new contacts to potential private clients. An investment bank, corporate banking, deals with companies by definition, but companies are people. Owners, shareholders, senior executives, and they're all potential private clients. So if they get a good experience with the corporate banking arm of a group, then there is already a certain element of trust that is then being conferred to the private banking side. And this executive and entrepreneur approach is something which is very dear to me, which is very dear to CMB. And I think many of these clients are attracted to CMB because our platform is Monaco. Monaco is politically very stable. You can't say that of too many countries in the world.
Quite a few countries in the world, yes.
It is robust because it's very well regulated. It is very dynamic. It keeps on promoting its services. And of course, everybody knows Formula One. Everybody knows the casino, the mega yachts, the mega yacht show, but there is more to it. There is the stability, the protection, the safety, and excellent infrastructure, and that attracts people. So we reflect that image. We are stable, we are robust, we have the highest key ratios in Europe of all banks, because we have an extraordinary capital adequacy and very high liquidity coverage ratios.
So you easily pass the stress tests?
We easily pass the stress test. We aren't being tested because only the 50 largest European banks are tested. But when the stress test happened 2.5 years ago, we replicated exactly the same approach and we came out number one. It's a good comfort. And it's a comfort to our clients, because when you entrust your family wealth to a bank, you want to be sure that it's safe.
Well, you're obviously doing something right, because you've got these magnificent awards. And in fact, I'll explain what they are, because you've been awarded Customer Service Private Bank of the Year, congratulations, and also Monaco Banking Ambassador. So when you look at these, obviously you feel tremendous pride, but what do these awards mean to the company? What message does it send out to the rest of the banking world?
Well, I mean, I get goose pimples when I listen to you now.
Well, it's the truth that you've won these awards.
It's really nice because, first of all, customer service means that what we committed to over all these many years, and we repeat every year is being recognized. And it's a huge team effort. It's a huge team effort because every employee in the bank, wherever he works or she works, they all have that same commitment to deliver. They may be in contact with clients directly, or they may be servicing one of their colleagues in the bank. But it's the same service commitment. And so it's really nice. We haven't planned that. I used to work for very large banks in the past, and collecting prizes was sort of normal. And at CMB, the day we got this message that we were awarded and recognized, it just felt that we had been doing things right. And it's an encouragement to continue. And Monaco Ambassador is really something extraordinary because we are only operating in Monaco. But we seize every opportunity to talk about Monaco. Our senior executives are public speakers to many conferences, and they get invited to talk. We are the main sponsor to the Philharmonic Orchestra, and whenever they travel, we accompany them, and wherever we are and we have contacts, business contacts, clients, we invite them to the concert. As for instance now the Swiss tour of the Philharmonic Orchestra, they play in Zurich, they play in Basel, they play in Geneva, and we invite good friends of the bank to these concerts. They are themselves ambassadors. We are ambassadors of Monaco and CMB. And that's really an extraordinary harmony.
And it's everybody's triumph. This didn't just happen alone, as you've stressed. Everybody contributed.
Yeah, absolutely. That's key. It's a team effort. Everybody, and at the bank, we are 230 people. We are well over 20 nationalities. They all have core competencies and experiences that they add to the overall concept.
If you and I are talking in, let's say, 5 years' time, what sort of a bank will we be talking about?
We will be talking about an old-fashioned bank. Old-fashioned in the sense that we care about clients. And whenever people say to me, you really sound, or it feels like an old-fashioned bank, it means that there are values from the past that people treasured and appreciated, and that often get forgotten these days because of the pressure, the short-term pressure of selling products and producing profits. So it will be an old-fashioned bank, highly innovative, highly technical, where technology is demanded by certain generations. Because we mustn't forget, the average age of a client in a private bank is well over 70 years old. That's typical of private banking industry. But at the same time, he will often introduce his next generation, his sons and daughters who may be 40, and they have children, so the grandchildren, who are 20, and you try to be close to them and convince them that you can be the right bank for them, even if or because it is the grandfather's or grandmother's bank. So we try to create a dialogue, with technology, but also in our conversation or through our staff. We have created academies, and that's part of the innovation in Monaco as well. We have created academies for women in finance, because World Bank published a global illiteracy report, and it showed dramatically how in over 100 countries in the world, responses to 5 basic financial questions were superior by men than by women. But women live longer, 4.3 years in Western Europe than men. And in most traditional marriages, women are younger than men. All this combined means, at a certain stage, women will assume responsibility for the family wealth. Yet, they are not prepared to it. We help them with the Academy Women in Finance, and they come to school for 1 year, following classes which we teach our senior executives in their areas of competence teach. But we haven't stopped at Women in Finance. We have created an academy for philanthropy. Typically in Monaco, many people would like to be active in philanthropy.
So taking the bigger picture for wealth.
Absolutely. But very often they don't know how to organize themselves, how to choose, how to go about it, how to control it. We teach them and we give them best practices and best examples, and we invite guest speakers who have succeeded or failed, so we can learn from them. And our latest project is a project at school, and we call it the Academy First Investments. At the 12 and 13 class grade, we teach very similar concept of the Academy Women in Finance, but in shorter lessons. We prepare children what it is all about finance and how to deal with it.
And respecting money.
And respect money, which sometimes in Monaco may not always be the case. So we create a dialogue with 17-year-old, 16-year-old, and we learn how to interact with them. And that's part of the innovation, but it's also part of our contribution. And so hopefully you will see in 5 years' time such a bank and many more things.
We'll just make sure that you're the CEO in 5 years' time as well, so we can pick up where we left off. But look, you're obviously doing a fantastic job, and congratulations on these awards.
Thank you
well
so much.
deserved, and
thank you,
sounds
Juliet.
to me as if you have a marvellous future that lies ahead. Werner Peyer, thank you.
Thank you, Juliet. Thank you so much.
Cheers.